2, 3. I guess I'll start. Thanks for coming to the panel instead of the video game, because I would have gone to that one too. So should I start talking, or should I let you guys ask questions first? Okay, I'll just say. So I've been in New York for the last year and a half, and New York is awesome, but I hate the cold. And I know you guys live in Minnesota, but you know, we have to walk in it everywhere we go. And there's mountains of ice covered with oil that you have to walk all over that are there for 3 months at a time. And then there's these puddles that look like the same color as the road, and they're about 2 feet deep or a foot deep, and you can't tell if it's the road or ice or puddle because they're slushy. So they have ice on top, so you can't tell. So, and they're the same color of the road because of all the stuff that they're filled with. Gross. And you can't tell until you step in it and it fills up your boot. It's so fun. It's so fun. Winter there is so fun. Huh? Yeah. And then imagine going to get your groceries in that when you have to put your groceries in a suitcase to get them back home. Up and down so many stairs. But other than that, other than the winter, New York's great. And I was studying at school, and that was incredibly difficult and taxing because it's a conservatory, it's kind of well known, and it's 9 a.m. till midnight and 12 hours of homework a night, pretty much 7 days a week, so there was no life. But this year I'm out of school because I couldn't afford to go back. So I'm out trying to save up money again so I could go back next year, because that's the whole reason I'm enduring New York weather is for school, and that's like it. I mean, there's some voice acting in New York, and then every once in a while I fly out to LA to do stuff. And sometimes we still got fairy tales, and Texas is nice enough to record, or Funimation is nice enough to record out there. And I've talked to some LA companies into doing some video games at the Pokemon studio with me. So don't mention that, but by directing over Skype and stuff. So I've managed to keep some roles by talking them into being willing to do that, but some companies aren't, so sometimes I just have to give big roles. There's a couple roles I've had to give up because I couldn't afford to fly out to LA for 2 hours, you know, and that's like it. I'm doing a very hard job that's hurting my legs a lot, but I'm doing what I have to do to find a way to get back into school. Like anything would. So, any questions based on that? If I get to go back, it's only a 2-year program. So if I get to go back, it's 1 more year. And it's busier than the first year, if that's possible. So, yeah, that's going to be really fun. And then I will have to stick around New York to audition for some theater, because it would be silly not to do that, you know? Yeah, which I should be doing now, but I'm not. I'm just trying to somehow make money to go back to school. And school is amazing. I mean, Shakespeare rocks. And we were supposed to study Chekhov this year, which I don't like reading his plays, but I would have learned a lot from doing his plays. They're supposed to be much better done than read. And there was singing, which terrifies the living daylights out of me, but we have to do anyways. And there's dancing, which has some particular challenges for me, but I love it incredibly. And I suck really bad. I'm terrible at it, but I love it. And it's also very good for the muscles in my legs. Very good. Oh, there's all this voice work. They hate my voice. They want me to talk like this all the time. See, that hurts. I can do that all the time. I can't do that for a 2-hour play. I would lose my voice. And then the whole idea is that you're supposed to be using your natural voice and using it more naturally and freeing it up so that you can do 8 shows a week, because it's theater school. So you can do 8 shows a week and not lose your voice. And I'm like, if I force my voice, though, seriously, I can't even do it right now because my voice is already, but like, I will lose my voice if I do that. And they think that's my real voice. So, you know, they get mad at me for talking. And the singing is really funny about that too, because they want me to sing not character songs. They want me to sing like that classical, fake, kind of way, which I don't like in real life at all. Not opera, but like the part before opera. Like it wouldn't be powerful enough to be opera, but it's that classical open. Like when I see people sing like that, I can't stand it. So I can't sing. I want to sing like that. So that's really interesting. And obviously I'm talking about school because I really love it. It's amazing. Voiceover, there's a few video games. Oh, I mean something, but it's not anime. I feel like there's stuff. It's not out yet, but I can't think of it. And there's not a lot of it. There's not a lot of stuff going on anymore. There's been a little bit of Pokemon, just a little bit. And then there's Yu-Gi-Oh! Did I say it right?
Yeah.
And I can't seem to get an audition with them, so yeah, I know it's a bummer. There's another company that's trying to start up again with Media Blasters. Media Blasters is trying to do stuff again, maybe, but that's not happening. So. But yeah, there's not a lot of stuff in New York. And I knew that before I went out there, so I knew I was giving up a lot to go there. People must have questions. Otherwise, should I just talk about the horrors of New York? Yes.
You said that you like the dancing part of theater.
Yes.
What's your favorite dance style that they've taught you?
Well, it's a mixture of ballet and jazz, so that's all I get to. I haven't been learning hip hop, which I think would be really hard for me.
Do you know tap yet?
Not yet. Tap we have to study on our own. We don't get that in school, which is a bummer because I'm actually better at that since it's only my feet. And because I'm shy. I don't look like I'm shy up here, but I'm really self-conscious, so it's really hard to do the whole body. Ooh, it's so hard. And then I want to do it right, so I mess myself up. And then there's the muscle problem, so, you know, I can't get off. Sometimes they roll on the ground, or they jump down on the ground and then get up again. I can't do that. So it's challenging, but it's just so fun. I always wanted to dance when I was a kid. I wanted to dance, so I wish I had training when I was a kid, of course. Any other questions? Yeah?
Have you started to get any sort of a New York accent at all?
Oh, no. No, you know, I rarely hear the accent. It's funny because I'm looking for I love the New York accent, so I'm always looking for it, and I rarely hear it. And when I do hear it, they always say they're from Brooklyn. Yeah. Or occasionally I hear the G in Long Island. Yeah. Occasionally I hear it. Occasionally I hear that. Occasionally I hear just a tiny, like someone doesn't have an accent until they say New York, just a tiny bit. But no, I rarely hear it. I don't hear it often enough at all. I hear plenty of other accents that I can't. I wish I could learn. I can't duplicate them. A lot of Bangladesh people. I work with a lot of Bangladesh people, so that would kind of be a cool accent to learn because it's different. And you get all these video game auditions now where they're all asking for accents, and they're like, we want something sort of Middle Eastern, and they don't specify, so I could use that. Or we want something sort of Norwegian, or oh gosh, all these accents that I wish I could do them. And that I would have learned in school this year. Any other questions? Yeah.
You mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that mean they're dubbing the new one then, the Arc 5 or whatever they're calling it?
I don't know. I just know the street. I know I know it's out there, and I know they're working. That's all I know. I don't know what they're working on. Or. Huh?
sure if that's what.
Oh, yeah, I suppose it could be the whatever they were working on before. Nice to get in.
Be nice to hear you.
It'd be nice to have a New York-based agent. Yes?
What coming up are you the most excited for? It doesn't have to be anime related, just what in your life do you have coming up that you're most excited?
Being able to go back to school if I get to go. I'm excited and terrified at the same time because it'll be way harder than last year. And I've had a year off, which means I've actually gotten a lot more rest than I got while I was in school. And so I'm like, how do I get back into the groove of never sleeping and never eating and never being able to go grocery shopping and coming home at midnight having 12 hours of homework to do and falling asleep with your face in the plate because you can't even eat the food. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get back into the groove because it's more than last year. I've told that they have like you'll have 10 scenes in a week. And by scenes, I mean, they're supposed to be like totally professionally done and you kind of get grilled on everything. You can't, like, they have trouble memorizing the lines for so it's tough. And then you're performing, you have shows, you have actual shows and all that stuff. So, and I saw hand in the very back.
This is a bit of an obscure question, but how hard was it to get the voice of Ling Xiaoyu in Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Not too hard. I can't remember, but I can't remember her voice exactly. But isn't it just high?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You had to do it for Jin.
Yeah, that's not too hard. That's not too hard. Not hard. Yeah.
Another video game related question, actually. I recently learned that you played 2 characters in Smite, and going from a cute little girl with tentacles to going from a mage who is the god of the underworld. How is that? They're both cute.
I'm a little bit confused because I know I play the girl that controls the wolves or something like that.
Yeah, with the tentacles still up.
Okay, she has, okay. But I'm not recognizing the other one.
The other one, it was Light Stance Hell.
Say it again?
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I only remember the one with the wolf.
Okay.
If the other one is small, it might have been that they just got me to do. If she only has a few lines or whatever,
yeah,
that might be why I don't.
That's okay. No, I was just wondering how if you have any preference between video game voice acting versus anime voice acting, and how that's different.
There's one great thing about video game voice acting: it pays better. That's like it. I like them both. I don't. I do like the anime because you know more what's going on, and it's better for the acting because you can watch a little bit of it, or there's just more story behind it usually. For the video games, sometimes you don't get the story, so you don't exactly know what's really happening. So that's the only part of it that I don't like. And it is also a lot harder on the voice because it's nonstop. You have a big, sheets of. They're probably talking about this in the other room right now, but you have big sheets of paper or maybe a book the size of a phone book or a couple of those. And the lines are just one right after the other, and you just do each line 2 or 3 times. And you can stop if you need direction, but they like you to just keep going. They record really quickly. And so you're doing a line 2 or 3 times, and then you're moving right on to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. So it's harder on the voice, and then you've got the fighting and the screaming noises, which are more than you would have in anime usually. So. Yeah?
For doing a video game voice, it's a little bit easier because you don't necessarily have to match the lip flaps like you do in the animes.
That part is easier, yes. Yes, that part is easier. Yes?
I'm a bit curious because voice acting to me has been very interesting but I noticed that you voice acted Lizana from Fairy Tale, and I just wanted to know how you felt about the character and the anime itself. It's one of my favorite animes.
I don't know everything about the anime. I think it's cool. There's so many different storylines and so many different people in it. I think it's really cool that Monica Real is my sister. For the second time, I think. I like Lizana a lot, and the little stories I've been in, I like, but especially the one that it started out with, kind of, with her brother. Should I not? Are there spoilers? There's spoilers. Is it everybody who is it okay to? Okay. So
I know what I think you're talking about.
I have no idea.
okay. So this is way a long time ago, I think, from what's up now. But so where her brother kills her, and then she's in the other world, and she comes back. I loved recording that, and that was my favorite part because it's just so. There was so much heart in it. I was crying the whole time in the studio because it was just so beautiful. So I love that part. Everything else is more fun and a little bit of fighting and worrying and stuff like that. So far since then.
I really like the little story between Natsu and Lizana.
I know, and they haven't done anything more with that. I keep waiting. What's the deal with that?
Well, because I feel like the
That ship
anime
has sailed.
is trying to get Natsu and what's her name, Lucy together. That's what I feel like, because there's some parts where it's just kind of pushing Lucy more towards Natsu, and when Lizana's trying to make them move this thing.
Well, that's
I like
good. She was friends with him first, right? So, unless she finds someone else she's madly in love with, then it's okay. Any other questions? Yeah?
Is there any series that you're not in, anime or even video games, that you would really like to get into?
Tons of them. I mean, Attack on Titan seems pretty cool, or people seem to love it. I don't really know the story. The stories I really love are the love stories, or the ones with all the emotional stuff in them, or pure craziness. So, what was that one that Monica and Monica and Brina played the main roles, and it's Funimation, and one girl has pink hair, and they save.
Future Diary?
Say it again?
Future Diary?
Nope.
What's the
It's like crazy and naughty, I think, but naughty like
Panty and stocking?
that one. I don't know what's in it exactly. I haven't watched it, but it looks like it could be fun and crazy. Yeah. I mean, especially after Shin-chan, there hasn't been anything like Shin-chan, and that was really fun to record. 'Cause I got to say bad things. Yes.
What role do you think most took you out of your comfort zone and really challenged you as an actress?
Most comfort zone. I have to think, because there's. At first, and I know this is an old kind of story, but at first, Haku. Oh, cool. Awesome, thank you. At first, Hakufu did, because I am not. I'm athletic in terms of I would have loved to have learned to go mountain climbing or learn to surf, and I love lifting weights or dancing, but I am not athletic in terms of any kind of sport, and at all. And she loves fighting, and it's a total sport to her, and I couldn't really identify with that, so I had to use a Stanislavski technique, which I didn't know of at the time. what do I love as much as she loves that? And it's acting. So I had to, just at first, I had to kind of think of acting when I was talking about fighting. And her voice is high and she yells a lot. So at first that was kind of hard. And it was hard because she's really, because the show's really edgy. So that was hard. Now it's like, oh my gosh, everything's like that. But she was ditzy. That was easy. Ditzy is easy. Yeah. With this voice, are you kidding me? My first role ever in a play was a dumb blonde, and it was so fun. I love it. Yes.
So you say you like romances and other shows with a lot of emotion. What are some traits that you really like to act for, like to be in the characters that you work?
Heartbreak. Someone who's insane, like Kaide and Shuffle. Yeah, so fun. Just going through really tough things in their life, or radical changes, or like Raka, things that they don't understand, and Raka had to deal with a lot, went through a lot, and I love that role, and that fulfilled me as an actor. I wouldn't say it was one of the most challenging roles. I would say it was one of the most fulfilling roles because of everything that she goes through. And it's hard to find roles like that. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Okay, what do I like playing the most? That's what it was, right?
Well, just what traits, like, I mean, you pretty much answered it, but like, what traits do you like in characters that you work?
So those, I also like, I get only rare opportunities to play the evil ones, and they're never totally evil, which is good. But I like the vixen, I like that stuff because it's so different than me or my life, or yeah, it's different than everybody's life. I mean, who's really a vixen, you know what I mean? And you can be, I don't know, you can be a little bit sexy with it, you know what I mean? But you don't have to be that way in real life. Like, maybe if I was on stage, I'd be really shy, but, which you have to get over, but you know, just your voice, it's fine. I don't mean fine, I don't mean like porno, I'm not doing any of that. I just mean, like, if you're teasing, you know how the vixens always tease, like, they just say things to try to get the other person's goat. I love that stuff. What else? That's mainly it. I mean, mainly what I can think of off the top of my head. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does, and it brings to mind the charity auction a few years back where you moved the panty and stocking character. That was good.
Did I do that one?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I do like the low voice characters too, like Asta and Trinity Blood, because then you hear them, and you're like, is that me? I did that. Cool, that's me. So those are really fun too, and they are challenging vocally. And also acting-wise, actually, because you're focusing on trying to keep that voice down there, and so then you end up trying to put your heart in something. The voice naturally wants to go up where it's not supposed to go, and you have to bring it down, and then you lose a little bit of range when you do that. So that's challenging. Yes.
If you had a choice between acting on stage and acting in anime or voice acting, if you only had one, only pick one, what would you choose?
Is it a musical?
Let's say the Music Man versus an anime.
Oh, I don't like the Music Man.
Oh,
Can I sing and dance well?
yeah, sure.
The musical. Absolutely the musical. I always wanted to be a musical theater actress. And I gave up because singing is not easy for me. Dancing might have been had I learned it a lot earlier and it wasn't for the health thingy. But it still would have been easier by now because my body would be used to those movements. I always wanted to do that. That's one of the reasons I went back to school. Is it was just a big deal to me that I felt like you know, God cares about your dreams, and I wasn't going to do this school thing at all, and it wouldn't leave me alone, and I felt like God was saying, you dropped the dream. I dropped it. I said, I obviously can't sing well, which I could, but I was so terrified of singing that every time I tried, I got messed up really bad, and then you get more terrified because you mess yourself up. It's this lifelong cycle of what I went through every time I tried to sing. I went through some awful stuff every time I tried to sing, and so I just felt like God was saying, you dropped the dream. I didn't. I know what you want. I know your heart better than you, and I know your love, and I haven't let go of this dream, even though you did. So that's what brought me to this school thing, and also because of my, well, it's good to do it because of my health situation, because it'll make me more. There will be certain things I can't that I. Aside from a miracle from God, that I will not be able to do to support myself. And should the worst happen, I need a job where I do not ever have to be on feet or legs, because, in case I can't. So I would be able to teach, because the school is very prestigious. So I would have more of I would be more competitive for the teaching stuff. So that's another good thing about going. But really, it's my heart, and I'm doing something as an older kind of person. I mean, come on, face it, all the kids in that school are really young. And I'm like a lot older than them. So that's challenging. But it's something I always wanted my whole life, always. So, and it makes you a better actor all the way around, and there's so much vocal work, and that's helpful. That's very helpful with the voiceover work, actually. Not the singing, but the actual voice work, which is different than singing. So that is good. I've learned ways around problem areas, so that's good. Any other questions? Should I talk about New York, or what it's like to go to New York when you're not from a place like that?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, you have a question?
Well, it's more of a request. I kind of want to hear a range of characters that you've done.
Oh. So you want me to talk like? Well, I'll just do some little bits of monologues that I used to practice. I practice these when I'm doing voiceover, before I do my voiceover work. So, does that help? Is that going to help? Or do you want actual anime characters? This is an anime character.
Anime characters, anything?
Okay. So my voice is a little messed up. There was this gorilla that had escaped from the zoo, and it grabbed my dog and threw it up in the air, and it got caught by this airplane propeller, and then it crashed to the ground, and then a pterodactyl, it swooped down out of the clouds, crunched it in his massive beak, and that's what happened. So that would be one of the highest ones, or the dragon. Of course I can talk. I can read too. I remember the day I rolled under the schoolhouse. I could hear children's voices, and the teacher's voice was so warm and friendly. I couldn't wait for school to begin each day. Wait, Tilly. Is your Uncle George a St. George? Did the dragon say a St. George? Oh. I always practice for that one. And then we have to go to the boy. Well, I don't like girls. Girls are no fun. They play with dolls and stuff. And what's with all the pink stuff? I think I went a little high with that. Anyways. And then there's the old lady. This is, there's two old ladies. So I've never gotten to do this one. It's an old lady, but I think it sounds more like a grandpa, maybe.
What's wrong? Did I forget my teeth? Nope, I got them.
And then, so then I go from that to the old lady. But it helps to pull out your cheeks. Oh, George, wait, Lord. Oh, George, he's just a boy. Well, when I hold out a plate of cookies and see his eyes light up, well, I just know in my heart of hearts, he couldn't be responsible for half the things you say. Dennis the Menace. This is just rehearsal. This is just what I do to like. And then you go down to the way I wanted to do Eileen in the anniversary. I feel like my voice can't do this thing.
Is that all? How boring. Kaiser 3, you're still alive. Let's finish this up, shall we?
That's like it. That's like it's supposed to be. Now they use me for those kind of roles sometimes. The bad thing is those roles are always smaller. That's not bad. It just means you make less money because you get paid. I'm playing a mommy now in something, and that's a bit challenging because they want the lower voice, but they want her to be really sweet and not sexy. You know what I mean? So. Yes.
How do you determine how you're going to do your voice for a character? Do you usually say, "I'd like to do it this way," or does the director say you need to do it a different way?
Usually, occasionally I'll ask, like if it's an anime and I've heard it, I'll ask, do you want it as high as, because I can do that, you know, do you want it as high as the anime, as the Japanese? Or not? Occasionally I'll ask that question, but usually I look at the picture, if there is one, and that kind of gives you an idea right away of the character. And this is for regular mainstream animation also. And then I read the description, and then you just get this feeling in your heart. It's like you just know how the character sounds. If you can't get that feeling, you sort of work on it a little bit, and you'll find something. And then I'll do it that way, and then I'll ask, and then they'll usually give me direction from there. They'll you know, I like that. Can you make her 5 instead of 10, or not so high pitched, or actually she's not as spoiled bratish as that. She's actually prissy but not mean, or you know, they just direct you from there. And sometimes they'll direct you completely different. You know, they'll say, "Okay, I like that, but that was something I never heard or didn't picture, or I did, or I've heard a lot of. So can we try this?" And they'll completely change it. But usually it's the gut. It's just what you read and what you see. Anybody else? You asked how do you get it, or not how do you get into it, but you're worried about. You said you wanted to be a voice actor? There's there's not anime that I know of course, around here, but there's lots of commercial voiceover work in Minnesota, and they've got to have classes. So I would recommend calling some of the talent agents and asking, are there classes that you recommend? And then I would take, if you can do acting classes or do theater, because there's so much theater here, I would do that, because as everybody says, it's more about the acting than the voice. So, having a different voice can be helpful. It can also peg you and limit you also. So the acting is very important. Yes.
When you take away the body and you're just, voicing for a character that has pre-scripted, animation, is the acting any different for that?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say the acting is different. A little bit. You don't have the freedom that you have in like a mainstream animation. You have complete creative control over your character, you and the director, over your character and everything. In a mainstream animation, you can be as wild and crazy or whatever as you want. Because it's already drawn, you have to go with what's already on the screen. So technically it's limiting, but then again, there are other great things about that type of work, and that it's Japanese animation, and their characters go through a lot of stuff that you know, a Saturday morning cartoon character wouldn't. So that's good. There, I guess there's some a small drawback, but benefits also from an acting standpoint. But you are a little bit limited by what's on the screen. But then you just find a way to put that, you know what the character is going through based on what's on the screen, and then you put that in your heart, and you know, they want to hear, I mean, I think that people want to hear, they want to hear what you can bring to it and what is deep within your heart that matches what's going on and is totally like that character. So you still have to draw from that. It's more challenging because you have to do that while you're matching that. That's the hard part. Anybody else? Well, at first, keep in mind well, the agent came later. At first, I went after work myself. I did, you know, paid money and worked hard on a demo and sent it out. And New Generation, I worked with them first. And then all the wonderful fans did that, voted for the, you know, this month's Best Actress in the Anime or whatever. And that was, the first thing that came out was I May Be Strawberry X. So you guys might not know that, because that's old by now. But Fuko, so it was Best Voice Actress of the Month or whatever. So I did the little marketing thing. I made a little gold foil label and put it on my demo, voted Best English Voice Actress of the Month, and I sent that to like Bang Zoom and other anime companies, just a few of them, because I could only find a few of them. I sent that to them. And eventually they called me in. Actually, Bang Zoom was pretty quick about it. They called me in and auditioned me for things, and I got work with them. And then some companies, I actually would send them stuff. Well, take, for example, one company who no longer, they're gone now, unfortunately. They found me at Anime Expo. So they invited me onto the panel. It was my second year, basically, as a voice actress. I mean, right after I started, only 1 year. And the guy was like, I really want to work with you. I've got to have you in my studio. I want to work with you. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I would love that. And he's like, do you have a demo? So I handed him the demo. A year later, at Anime Expo, on another panel, the same guy comes up to me. He never called me for anything. He comes up to me, I really want to work with you. I have to have you in my studio. I have to work with you. And so I gave a demo to his assistant. It still took another couple of years of me, like every 6 months, sending a postcard that said, you know, won this award or nominated for this, you know, marketing, you know, and it still took that. And I think eventually, after 4 years or something, he finally called me in, and he was like, yeah, you've been trying to get in here for a while. And I'm like, you can't say anything. Dude, you approached me. I wouldn't even know who you were if you hadn't approached me. But then there's companies I did want to work with that I sent things, and one company I didn't get to work with till 10 years later, after every once in a while sending stuff. And then there are other companies, there are a couple smaller companies that someone actually recommended me for, and I got called in for auditions based on that. So it's a variety of ways. I think once you're doing it for a while, people will recommend you for things if you're not competition for them. If you're competition, they might not recommend you. Any other questions? Yeah.
What winds up on your demo reel? Do you get to take clips from stuff that's done and add that, or is it studio property, or what?
Because it's just a demo and I'm not selling it, and I'm only using it to like get an agent or to get work, and the only people hearing it are either casting directors or agents, I can take clips. commercial demo is actually commercials that I didn't do. I worked with somebody, we wrote. You don't ever, guys, if you're ever going to make a demo, do not ever do anything that's already been done. Don't do someone else's character, don't do a commercial that's already been done, because you might walk into a casting director or an agent and say, hey, it's funny that you have this commercial on your demo because my client so-and-so did that commercial. So you never want to do that because it just makes you look bad. But you're absolutely allowed to write things that are fresh, that sound like something that's been done. So that's what the guy that I hired who worked with me, he wrote copy like for McDonald's. It wasn't a commercial that ever been done, but we took my voice and wrote something based on that, and several other companies. And it's about 10 seconds of like 10 different commercials. That one is not, I've only done a few commercials unfortunately, so there's not a lot to put on there. The animation one is clips off of stuff that I've done. And that's not always a great thing because the regular agents don't like anime, so, and they can hear the anime in it. So I'm supposed to redo it, take out all the Japanese names, and, you know.
How frequently do you revise that?
Not frequently enough. If you talk to most voice actors, they'll say your demo's never done. It's always a work in progress because you're always revising it. I still have like characters or a range now that's bigger than my range when I started, and I have. So I mean, it's costly, and then I hate choosing. I hate. If you watch an anime, you've got a lead role in, and you like the voice. You come up with hundreds of things you want to put in there, and how am I supposed to choose? And then I hate that part.
You have to bring it down to
you get, it's, a while ago it was a minute and 30 seconds, now I think it's down to a minute. That gives you maybe 10 seconds of 10 different characters or 12 seconds of a fewer characters. And you want to start with, whether it's animation or commercial. There's also people are doing specific video games demos, and they're doing specific audiobook demos, which I don't even have, which is sad because they do a lot of audiobooks anywhere. But you want to start with the stuff that is more naturally you, so that when the casting director or the agent hears it, they get an instant idea of, they get something they can remember of how you naturally sound, and then you can go into different voices so they can hear the range that you have, and not different voices, different characters, so they can hear the range that you have. And it's the same with commercials. You would want to do a few commercials that are still very different, but naturally you enough that they get an idea. Like when they hear my demo, the first thing they hear is teenage girl. So that's what they remember, teenage girl. Yeah.
When you're talking about commercials and your demos, do you like commercials like products that are already out there, or do you kind of like make up products?
Oh no, it's totally fine to do commercials for products that are already out there as long as they aren't commercials that have actually been done and you came up with a commercial yourself. Oh, you also, what's on the demo are sound effects and music, which is another reason to hire someone great, and I don't want to do all that myself. So, like, I have a commercial on my demo that's about healthcare. It's called ProCare, and it basically says each life is precious, and we know how to take care of your child, and blah blah blah. And then at the end, the baby's going, yeah, you know, like stuff like that. You know, that it's a nice finish, but they added that, and there's some funny noises he added to it, and music, different music, and you never want two non-music pieces close together. You want it to sound, you want it to have as much variation as it can have. So even if you're using the music to do that, it'll somehow one snippet will flow into the next, but still be different enough that it gets your attention. Makes you want to keep listening.
So you want like a fully produced finished product?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I always say hire a professional and not someone who just not a company that they make all their money off of doing demos, maybe, unless they're really good at it, because some of them will not do something that's specifically tailored to you, and you want the teenage girl, that's like a signature. The innocent girl, teenage girl next door, that would be like a signature. You want the stuff done to be done specifically for your marketableness, which would be your signature. So you want someone who's going to tailor everything towards that and showing you off, not someone who's just going to make a great sounding demo that's not really you or not going to get you work. And I definitely recommend hiring someone and not doing it yourself. Some people are really talented with all that technological stuff, but I still recommend having that other person. Anybody else? What time is it? Okay. Go ahead. That's okay. I understand. There's places to go. People to see. I'm going to talk about New York then. So driving in New York is very frightening, as everybody knows, but I live in Queens where it's supposed to be easier, but it's worse. It's not. It's like Grand Theft Auto. You get points. You get power-ups or points for every law that you blatantly break, putting someone's life at grave risk. You get great points for that. And if you mow a person down, you get great points for that. And if you hit somebody or cause an accident, you get huge points for that. To heck with the damage to your own self. That's what it's like. That's really what it's like. I stopped somewhere making a left-hand turn because there was an old lady with a shopping cart crossing the street. Someone went around me, cut me off. If I had gone, we would have had an accident. Went around me, cut me off, and almost ran the lady over. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And the lane is like this big, this big, and there's cars parked on each side. And then you're trying to drive down the street, and people are sick of the way you're driving, or you're looking for a parking space, or you're going to turn right. So they go around you on this really skinny street really fast, and then you've got to turn right. You know how usually you stop and you put your blinker on, or you slowly turn right? They will go around and cut you off while you're turning right. They ain't waiting for you. Not unless you're going 100 miles an hour, and then they probably still won't wait for you. And there's no lines in the road. Yeah, so you're completely guessing, is this a one-lane street, or a 2-lane, or a 3-lane? And oh God, there's a diesel coming over to cut me off, and there's a wall on this side. I guess it's 1 lane now. Oh God, like that. Oh my God.
Parking 3 lanes over and then as a street, basically. Those are always fun.
Oh yeah, you mean when they're parked?
They stop wherever.
Yeah, they literally stop wherever. Cars literally stop wherever, and then you learn to go around them. They run red lights like they get points for it. Yeah. I think they must get points if they cause an accident, because they act like they're not concerned at all.
Did you get the points card when you did?
I did. I'm glad someone told me that it's illegal to turn right on a red light, because that could get me in a lot of trouble, although judging from the rest of New Yorkers, it wouldn't have got me in any trouble. Actually, I think that driving in New York City might be a little easier, because it's just so slow, and so it depends. If you're around a lot of cabs, then it's impossible, because they come from countries that don't have laws. The cab drivers. And then getting on a subway is really fun, because where I live in Queens. So at 8 in the morning, rush hour, there's thousands of people in the little subway, what do you call it? No, the part where you wait for the subway. Platform. So there's thousands of people, and they're all piled up, and the subways are coming pretty fast, but you got somewhere to be, and you got to get there, and everybody shoves in the door before you, and so that you can't get on. So you have to wait 2 or 3 subways, and I had a guy in a business suit, an older guy that looked like a really clean cut, shoved me off the subway so that he could get on. And I think I yelled out, "Your mother must be really proud of you." He didn't hear me because the door was closed by then, but I was like, And sometimes it's so bad. Of course, you've got the armpits in your face, and people have shoved you in, so you're bent over some poor old lady about to push her to the ground, and it's like that. It's really like that in rush hour. But sometimes, you know, you've got to get on that subway no matter what, because you are not going to make it. You're not going to make it to your job. You're going to get fired or whatever. So you pray for a big football playing type of man to get on behind you and push you on. Because that's the only way you're getting on the subway anytime that morning. And then I found out that there are people in Japan who actually do that with white gloves on. It's their job. Yeah, so to push people on the subway. You want a gentle push. You don't want a push that's going to shove you into someone's face or lap, but you want to get on. And if someone pushes hard enough, because people don't like to move, and the subways are really full in the morning, so they may not have room to move. But I tell you what, if someone pushes firmly enough, they'll find space. So yeah, a guy behind me, because I can't push that firmly or don't want to. Either way.
Have you been to China?
No, yes, I have. And I remember how busy they were, but I don't remember ever having to...
There was a bread test. It's essentially you have a piece of bread in your pocket, and if it's so squeezed, by the time you leave, the bread is going to be as thin as a piece of paper.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wow. That sounds worse.
On a related note, I'm not sure if this question was asked before or not, but was there any job that was offered to you, but you just, for some reason, didn't want to take it? Or were there any jobs that you really want to take it, or in the future that you want to go into, in terms of voice acting?
There's been a couple that I didn't take, either because the subject matter, mostly because of subject matter, or because, no, those ones I probably wouldn't audition for in the first place. So there's been some I didn't take because of the subject matter, but I mean, there's been a few. There's also been theater shows that I was offered roles in that I couldn't do because I didn't want to be naked on stage or something. There's a lot of things I don't audition for because a lot of agents now do union and non-union stuff. And it's really bad to do a non-union project for, like, say, McDonald's, and you're not supposed to do non-union anyways, but no matter who you are, even if you're non-union, you do not want to do like a non-union project for McDonald's, who can afford to pay union, thank you very much, and make $500 for a commercial that would have paid you $50,000. And if you do that, you cannot do any more commercials for the next couple of years for anything related to food. So you've now cut yourself out of a bunch of other jobs. So there's a lot of jobs that I won't take for that reason, because or I won't even audition for, because what they're offering, I'm like, dude, I'm like, no. You don't get a voice actress of a certain caliber if you're paying that little. You just don't. I'm not auditioning for it. I feel a little prideful. But it's also not worth it to me, because if I can't do another commercial later on, and I just made, dumpy $500 off of this, like that poor lady who said, "Where's the beef?" Got paid nothing for those, from what I hear. It's just very bad for my ability to feed myself. There's also some video games. There's Grand Theft Auto. I wouldn't do.
But you already live in Grand Theft Auto, right?
I'm living it, yeah. Except for that, there's other stuff in that I just refuse to do it. I don't remember what they wanted me to do, but I was like, I can't do that. I'm so sorry, I have to refuse that. And there's some video games that I'm not auditioning for now, because I also think that they should be, they're of names, or from movies that you would recognize. And I don't think that what they're trying to do with these games is right, or what they're trying to pay for these games is right, or I just don't think it's right, so I won't audition for them.
So tie-in games.
Yeah, I mean, come on, those are big deals. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing those. Yeah, it just sometimes companies are trying to get away with stuff they shouldn't be trying to get away with, and so sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it.
So what is your ideal voice acting role? If you
My
have-
ideal?
Yeah, yeah. If you can have no constraints, no nothing.
Disney princess.
There's a lot of them.
Huh?
There's a lot of Disney princesses. Which one?
Oh, it could be a new one.
Okay.
I mean, totally, it could be a new one. I would have loved to have been Tinkerbell, but that's been taken. And Laura Bailey does some of that, and I wouldn't want to take Laura Bailey's stuff. But I love Tinkerbell. She's not a princess per se, but you know, she's still pretty much a Disney princess. There was Alice in Wonderland at one point. They were looking for Snow White. They were redoing Snow White, and I could do her without even thinking, even a little shaky in her singing voice. I can't do it now because I'm in it, but I could totally do it. And then they wanted a match for the old version of Snow White, and it was a total match. I don't even think they listened to it. Oh, and that cartoon called it's Winx. Yeah, I'd love to be in that. Yeah. It's just every time I see that, I'm like, those are like, oh my goodness.
Too bad Nick won't commit.
Oh, I haven't been watching it. I've only seen it a few times.
It's already like gone.
Is it?
Sadly, yes.
Aww.
Either that or we've officially caught up to France or wherever it's from, and they're just waiting, but it's been a couple of years now. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting to me. Based on some things that I've seen.
Tell us about those things?
No, I can't. I wish I could, but I can't.
Would affirm my lack of faith in Nick.
Is he a character or the
channel company?
Oh, Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if this is related to them actually. I don't know if it's related to them. So I can't give you less faith or more faith. I know that Nick doesn't like doing anime anymore, though, I guess, because they don't make enough money off of it. They want to do their own stuff, so.
I was going to say, isn't technically everything they do in animation, though? Even though it's the Americanized cartoon, it's still an animation.
They're producing it in-house, though.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what I found out that's really terrible? I'll tell you a secret that I found out. It's really terrible. A lot, like Shrek, take Shrek for example. A lot of these major, movies that are being done with voiceover work. I mean, Shrek is, would you call that an animation? It seems a little bit different. Okay, so like animations, animated movies. For small parts, or for some of the main parts, they'll send a letter out to the people who do work in the mailroom or secretaries, everybody who works in, like, say, Pixar or whatever. We need some voices for scratch tracks. You want to do, some work. It doesn't pay anything, but it would be really fun. So these people, yeah, absolutely, so they go up there and do it. And, you've got us voice actors who are killing just for a 5-liner and something, just for anything, because they hire all the movie stars now, and there's very little left for us, So we do anything just to get that 5-line role. And then some of those people, they end up getting those roles, and they're not even voice actors. Now they are, probably, but like the Gingerbread Man, he was from the mailroom. He wasn't a voice actor, and now he's totally like sad and like probably getting lots of other work. I'm just jealous, so jealous.
So what you're saying is that you should probably go to the mailroom and...
Yes, of a big company. I should go to the mailroom and wait for that email to come. We're doing a scratch tag. Yeah, maybe that's how you get in. That's how I need to do the mainstream stuff. Yeah. Yes?
What's the smallest company you ever gotten a request to do work from?
How? What do you think? Huh. ESL companies.
What?
ESL, English as a second language. They'll do videos to send to Korea or Japan or wherever, and they'll have you come in and do stuff, and usually in a like yellow What? You know, like this kind of really slow voice, you know, like, hi, or hi, let's go play today. You know, it's like talking really slow. And those are pretty small companies usually. They're one of the first ones I ever worked with, they did puppet. They had a video with puppets in it, and I did the voice of the puppets. And they were a pretty tiny company. Anime-wise, I thought at the time it was Media Concepts. I think it was the one who did Ultramaniac, which is old, so maybe you guys don't know about it.
I've heard the name.
Huh?
I've heard the name.
I think, and then I'm working with a really small company right now that's kind of ran by one guy, and he has a couple engineers that he works with, but it's like him, as far as I know, it's him and his engineers, and they do French stuff. So that's a pretty small company. And there's another one like him in LA that I did a little bit of work with too. Those guys though, like they're generous, you know, they pay sometimes better than other.
So going along the same topic. Yeah. So going along the same topic, have you worked with people who don't necessarily have like a company per se, but they want to do something independent, and they're like, they would need a voice actress?
Yes.
And then, you know, here's a couple $1,000.
Usually they're offering the going rate. They come up with the money to offer the going rate for whatever that type of work usually goes for. Since anime, comparatively, pays so much less than any other voiceover work, a lot of times they'll offer like that kind of a rate, like an anime rate. And I have worked with at least one company like that. And one other I said I would work with, but I didn't. I guess they went in another direction. So yes, I have. Oh, okay. One last question, or no? We probably don't have time anyways. Thank you guys so much for coming.